Okay, so say what you said.
Say what I said. Alright. So this is a little special for Champagne Football where, considering tomorrow's the Ballon d'Or, we're going to talk about shit relating to that. And we have a special guest today. Welcome to the podcast, Ben Chapal.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be here. Got my glass poured up, and we're up in the studio. I love this place. It's got gold, everything.
Notes.
Everything is gold plated. I'm drinking out of a golden chalice right now. The finest quality champagne. Here to talk Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, and on Ballon d'Or, I think the Ballon d'Or is fucking... I think it's stupid. I think it's too subjective.
So you don't think that players should be recognized for their contributions?
It's so hard. Because so we're going to talk
about... It's interesting, because us Americans, we love a good MVP.
Oh god, fucking 4 minutes into it.
I mean, I'm not even American. I can back the fact that we do in North America like an MVP.
Okay, yeah, we'll make
we'll
make it a North American thing. We'll gang up here on our...
Okay, let me just say...
What even are you?
Like
are you English?
Who the best is.
Alright, for the sake of the argument, I'm English.
Are you...
Shut up! Look, alright, football is a team sport, no?
It's a team sport, yeah.
Yeah.
But does that not mean that one person's
that?
individual contributions can still change the game?
Well, I think they should be recognised, but I don't think they should be fetishized. Is that a word? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think it shouldn't be like obsessed over. Because at the end of the day, for the last decade, who have been the best two players in world football?
Messi and Ronaldo.
Exactly, undeniably. Now, who has been the best player? That's where the subjectivity comes into it. So I think it's so hard for you to say, and for you to prove your argument, because you can say, oh, I love the way Messi plays, his artistry, his blah, 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 and then somebody could say, but Ronaldo's just a goal machine.
But the thing about the Ballon d'Or, it's a historical record of which year that Messi or Ronaldo were
performed
at the
better.
peak of their
powers.
But
I think that record is corrupt, because it's just opinion-based.
But it's not. People take a look into stats. They take a look at trophies.
So what is it based on? Stats, trophies, or is it individual performance? Because it's
that's what's great about it, man. It sparks debate.
Debate is good.
Yeah. You can look at goals. You can look at assists. You can look at trophies. You can look at overall impact on the team.
But there's no formula. I don't like that's the problem for me. I think it's great for everybody to have their opinion on who they think is the best. But I don't think there should be a definitive...
So you think French football should come out and give us a formula by which we need to vote?
No, I think that
because that takes the whole point of the...
Yeah, that's what I mean. I just think it's too subjective for you to be able to say, this guy... It's nice to be like, Modric was the best player after the 2018 World Cup. Yeah, exactly. Yikes, exactly.
But I think he was.
Yeah, I agree. But I know a million people who disagree, and that's where it falls down for me. It's too subjective.
But do you not think that the best player should be rewarded for getting the most amount of votes? If there's people voting for them, should they not be rewarded for that?
But I've heard...
It's a way to look at public opinion and...
But often,
what's wrong with validating public opinion?
Public is stupid, man. They're so fucking stupid.
Well, first of all, it's not the public that vote on the
Yeah, exactly. It's the footballers. And the footballers are dumb as well.
But don't you think so? They have the most exposure to these players. They've played against them. They know them.
But they don't. I don't know. If you're I don't...
No, they don't?
I
don't think so.
Have you ever played against Messi, Hal?
No, of course. I don't need to play against Messi to know he's good. But I think you talk about these footballers who don't even care about the game, or that it's just too. Again, it's subjective. It doesn't matter. If I played against Messi on Tuesday and Wednesday on
a rainy Wednesday and stuff.
Yeah, and then Ronaldo on a sunny Saturday in Madrid.
If Messi would come down for a rainy Wednesday night at Teddington Lock, I'd tear him to pieces.
Yeah, well, the point is, it doesn't matter where, you're just, from person to person, you're always going to have different opinions.
But
no?
Maybe, but can you not deny the fact, or you can't deny the fact that, the Ballon d'Or has still become a huge marker of success in the game for both the men and the women. The women being added to the Ballon d'Or recently, and it's a huge marker of success.
At the end of the day, you put all of this effort, all of this time into thinking about, into watching, and
yeah, but I don't think footballers who vote for it do that shit. They just get a sheet.
But I'm not talking
training, and they go tick Messi, tick Ronaldo. It's purely subjective. It's nice to have it.
I'm not talking about
But is Messi not the best?
Yeah, he is the best.
There you go. So
but just because we agree doesn't mean fucking.
I'm talking about
Jimbo
you personally. That you invest all this time into watching the game, into thinking about the game, and you're telling me that you don't like an award where you have to narrow down everyone in the world into the best.
I don't think we need to do that, because I can make that opinion by myself. What I care about is that
But that's what this is all about.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying it's stupid. Because you
Why?
Because you have a team sport. So Liverpool won the Champions League, and I think that is the most important competition.
It is.
Yeah, so Liverpool are the best team. And then beyond that, it's all
But then you have a player like Messi.
He's great. Who
got beat by a better team. But he could potentially...
he's part of a team, so...
Yeah, he's part of a team, but he could potentially be the best player in the world.
He could be.
So let's say theoretically a player like that loses to a better team. This is a way for an individual player to
team sport.
But so individual players have an impact. They have an impact. And this is a way of rewarding those individual players who have an impact.
It's an opportunity for the individual to be recognized, even though it is a team sport. I do agree it is.
Okay, so maybe they should be recognised, but I don't rank the Ballon d'Or as important in the context of football, because I think what the clubs win is way more important. What you do as a collective in a team sport is obviously far more important than what you do as an individual in a team sport. So sure, it's great. Messi probably was the best player. I think we all agree on that. Last year, and maybe Virgil van Dijk is the best player of this present year.
So with that, who's your pick for this year?
That's a good segue.
Who's going to win this year, Hal?
Despite the fact that Hal wants to shit
on
the Ballon d'Or,
we
are going to go into
I think it's worth saying, despite the fact that he wants to shit on the Ballon d'Or, he still has an opinion on who should win it.
Of course.
So Hal,
I never said. I'm not trying to strip the people of their opinions.
Okay, so we need one of you guys to do like a little intro into the next section here.
Oh man, he comes on the show and he thinks he can run it.
Oh, what?
We're leaving. I'm just saying, we are leaving this.
We just got into a shouting match for 5 minutes.
You know, we had a great segue there, and you just walked all over.
No, I didn't.
Oh, Ben Chapal.
Ben Chapal.
By the way, everybody at home listening to this, I run this pod.
It is so cute that he thinks that. Right. It's okay.
Little Ben made a little suggestion over there. So anyway, yeah. So
segue.
Oh, shut up, man.
I'm asking you, Hal. Who do you think is up? Who do you think is going to win the Ballon d'Or this year?
Well, I think for this competition, I would vote. I would have to think about it long and hard. I'll just pause there for a second.
Woo!
We have the humor of middle schoolers.
A little child, yeah. Probably, Virgil van Dijk would probably be my number one pick, and then Messi. But it could easily switch, depending on what time of the day it was and what mood and what drink I'm drinking, But anyway, those two, I think, and that's the thing for me, right? So either or.
Okay, so run us through your reasoning behind the Van Dijk number one pick.
Well, I think because it's a team sport, to hark back to my earlier argument, Liverpool have won the most, and well, not the most, sorry, but they've won the best, the Champions League. They've lost as many games in the last 18 months since Virgil van Dijk has signed as they have been in Champions League finals. So I think that indicates the importance, or how important he is to Liverpool, and how much he has transformed a team from, let's be honest, a Europa League or Champions League challenger into a Champions League winner, pretty much. So I would say Van Dijk is right at the top there. And then Messi just comes in naturally second because he's Messi. I don't think I have to elaborate more on that.
So based on your team sport argument for the Ballon d'Or, do you think that winning the Champions League is a requirement to win the Ballon d'Or?
Not a requirement, but I think it has to be taken into account quite seriously.
So is it not taken into account then? So obviously Messi lost to Liverpool en route to that.
Well, that's why I've picked Van Dijk over him, because you can look at the individual, but you have to take into account the team sport. Yeah.
I mean, come on, okay, well, this is going into my opinion.
Okay, segue.
Segue.
I'm going to go live on Instagram here on Champagne Football.
Instagram.
I'm going to do it. Keep talking.
Your guest speaker.
We only get like 2 viewers, that's fine.
So are you going to give your third pick, or are we just going to...
No, because I think we're all going to do on two, because I think...
So we're going through our top 3. All of us.
Who would be your third pick
No,
here in the Ballon d'Or?
I'm not ready.
You're not ready?
Ben, I need you guys to do your 2.
Well, so my 2 would still be, I'd put Messi first.
So you go Messi
I'd
first.
go Messi, I'd go Van Dijk, and then I'd go Mo Salah on the third pick.
Okay.
And I kind of back that based on Liverpool, like you said, winning the Champions League and also coming back against Barcelona.
Yeah.
True that. But you picked Messi for your number 1.
Yeah, but I still think like you and I Ben, like you and I were talking about earlier in the pod as well, I think that we should acknowledge players who had an individual impact. His team might not have been as strong as Liverpool's entire team was, but him as an individual player was that strong, and I think he should be recognized for that.
Very true, yeah. I agree with that. Although not totally, because I would have picked Van Dijk.
So why would you choose Van Dijk over Messi?
Alright, so before we go into that, my top 2, I think we're all going to save our... You already revealed your third.
I did.
But you very, very secretively and for some reason have hid your third pick. I don't know what the big reveal is, but...
Giroud.
Mustafi. No,
Keep him up the sleeve.
top 2 for me, Van Dijk and Messi. I mean, I think it's sort of a lock. Did we all pick those 2?
We did
for the top
all
2.
Pick those
Not necessarily in the same
2.
order. But for me, Van Dijk, I mean, look, a huge leader for Liverpool. Liverpool's big problem under Klopp before they brought in Van Dijk was always the defensive errors. And until they brought in Van Dijk, they had won no trophies of significance. Which I
mean, apart from the Champions Leagues that they won. But you mean in recent times, yeah?
No, I said before they brought in Van Dijk, they had won no trophies of significance under Klopp.
Oh, I apologize.
CCC.
Ben's got this one right.
Yeah. We're going global, baby.
Yeah, we've got one fan here saying Van Dijk for me, so we've got a little bit of love for Van Dijk
as
well.
All right.
Ooh, just another love for Messi now. We're evenly split so far, 50-50. We need a third person to weigh in.
But anyway, back to my reasoning for the Van Dijk pick. He was never dribbled past. So I'm not sure who's keeping up with these stats, but
like I
on a 1v1
situation,
situation, he was not dribbled past in any competition over the course of 2019.
Yeah.
Does that mean anything?
Yeah, it means something to me. It doesn't mean everything. It's great. I think it's like fucking amazing. Yeah.
As an Arsenal fan, I couldn't imagine.
That's the thing. I can't even.
I can't comprehend. Yeah. No, it's like.
But how wasn't your pick still Van Dijk?
Yeah. I'm not trying to argue against him.
No. I think for me, Van Dijk is a lock. I mean, look.
Yeah, I agree.
I have not seen in my lifetime a defender with the qualities that he has.
And the transformative qualities that he's changed.
I think back to the closing stages of the Premier League last season when Liverpool were obviously just chomping at the heels of Manchester City.
Yeah.
The game against Newcastle. This doesn't even have anything to do with something that Van Dijk did, other than a simple switch of he had Shaqiri take the free quick. The free quick.
We don't have time to do all 3 words.
But no, he made the decision himself to switch Alexander-Arnold with Shaqiri, so there was an in-swinger, and what do you know? They scored at the last minute with Origi. Yeah. It's a leadership qualities, man. But then he also scores headers. He, like I said before, he wasn't dribbled past for the entire year. It's insane, man. The amount of qualities that he brings to the side. I think that it's a lock for me.
Okay, I think we can all agree that they are definitely Messi and Van Dijk are definitely the top 2.
So who would be your third pick then?
Okay, so I'm gonna say Becky, you count down 3, 2, 1, and we'll both say.
Yeah. Well, you know my pick already.
So
my pick is Mo Salah as a
okay.
third pick, and that's partly because of Liverpool winning the Champions League and what they were able to do in Europe with their comeback last year as well. But I'll give you guys a little countdown. Try you guys both in the frame here.
You're just googling some stats.
All right.
He's googling
This is a quick countdown.
Does that make me soft? No, that makes me a good.
Here we go.
Podcast.
All right.
A good podcast. Done his research.
Your third pick for the Ballon d'Or.
Okay, ready? So 3, 2,
1.
Mane.
Lewandowski.
Okay.
Please back up your arguments.
Well, I think Mane, much for the same reason that you voted Salah, pretty much all the exact same reasons, except for the fact that I think Mane's just been better over the last 12 months. If you could talk to any Liverpool fan right now, I'm pretty sure they would all choose, if it was Salah or Mane to be injured for, however many games, they would all say, we'll take Salah out of the team.
But this isn't necessarily based off right now, is it? It's based off
No, but okay, but over the last 12 months,
okay.
Well, it's hard because you can't. But you get my point, right? He's a more important player right now, and I think he's been a more important player to them in the last 12 months across the last season of football. I think if you look at his stats, which I've not Googled like a little nerd, but I'm telling you, Mane has better. Mane has better. By the way,
I've got thick
I didn't necessarily refer to you, so the fact that you say you weren't hurt by that proves that you were hurt by that. Anyway,
leave the live Instagram now. While
I'm waiting for your Mane defense.
This has been
by the way.
a sneak peek of Champagne Football.
Mane's so good I don't need to defend him. I'm not insecure. I just know he's good.
I'm just shouting out names and I'm blindly sticking to it.
No, come on. All right, ready?
Okay.
Who scored more goals in the last 12 months?
Mane's this is a really good question.
Goals. I don't even need to check it.
But how many assists and
not over Lewandowski.
Okay,
look. Let's not me defend Mane. Let's me attack Lewandowski because I can do that. Because when was the last time? When was the last time Lewandowski scored a relevant knockout stage goal in the Champions League to win Bayern Munich?
Okay,
Borussia Dortmund before that. When did he last make a telling contribution? Mane won the penalty in the last Champions League. That's a vital contribution that helped Liverpool win the most important competition in club world football, in my opinion. I don't think there's a bigger. So he's had a more telling contribution in the last 12 months than Lewandowski. Sure, Lewandowski's a brilliant player. He started this season on fire. He's probably the best number 9 in the world right now. I'm not trying to fight that, but I'm just saying Mane's had a better 12 months than Lewandowski.
And all I have is a simple defense that is based completely on goal stats.
And that is what then?
This wasn't the world's top goal scorers. This was the best player.
No, it's not. But this is a relevant discussion as far as Ballon D'Or. Well, no, it is a subjective decision here, and this is the player that I've decided to go with. So, Lewandowski this season in the Bundesliga played 13. How many do you think he scored, Hal?
Played 13?
I'm going to go with 15.
20.
Ooh.
Okay, well, you just obviously overshot that to try to...
No, genuinely.
How close is 15?
You thought he scored 20 goals in 13 appearances.
15?
I know he's on a
15 was close. He scored 16.
See, that...
I'm sorry.
So 16 goals.
I'm taking that as a win, Hal.
16 goals in 13 games. I'm telling you that 1.1 goal per game ratio is better than any striker.
So wait, this season, yeah?
But you got wait,
hold
on, back up. You're saying if it's better than...
Oh, shit.
Ben
spilling champagne everywhere.
On his laptop. Okay, wait.
Motion and just
back up. Slow down.
How do I do this?
You're telling me that Lewandowski's goal rate is better than every single striker in the Premier League.
I can't believe I just did that.
Yeah. All right. So you're telling me that Lewandowski's record is better than any single striker in the Premier League, but you're not taking into account the overall level of the two leagues in comparison to each other. The Premier League has a higher rate of the talent in that league is stronger than it is in the Bundesliga. He's not playing against the same level of competition that Premier League strikers are. So if his goal rate is so much better.
Who just came to the Emirates and absolutely bossed Arsenal at home?
Yeah, but Arsenal was shit, don't you forget.
Yeah, Arsenal are not...
What league did they come from?
Is that the best example? Sorry,
and
was it Bayern
this is from
playing
this
there?
season, is it? Yeah, well, surely it is.
Oh, okay, and so the votes, by the way, are not only national team coaches and captains, but also international journalists.
Ooh.
So, who actually do their research. Funny that.
So hopefully one of these days it will be me voting instead of Hal, because apparently he doesn't think that this means anything at all.
I never said that. I just said it doesn't mean as much.
As what? So let me hop back in with my Champions League argument.
Please
okay,
hop back
so
in.
this clap is going to signify the start of...
Let me do a little... No,
okay.
Let me do a little rap.
We'll do a little...
Here's the start.
Okay, but anyway, I think that we can all agree that the Champions League is a valid league, very competitive, and if you score goals in that league...
So valid.
It's significant. These are the Champions League stats for Robert Lewandowski.
Since when?
1920, just this season.
1920. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 games, 10 goals. That's 2 goals per game, bro.
Well, that's amazing.
And gal.
Yep.
Bros. Can I... Yeah, bros.
Yeah, whatever.
Bros
It's
here.
fine. We're good.
Bros is
We're good. Well...
Did that not strike you guys? Was that not a good stat?
It is a good stat.
It's a good
agree.
stat, but...
So what's your rebuttal with Mane, man?
My rebuttal is Mane won the fucking Champions League, bitch.
Yikes. Okay, so I guess...
Sorry, I'm not really that in person.
No, so I guess the next valid direction for this conversation to go is what is more important, individual goals or the big trophies?
I don't think we're going to agree on it,
What has more weight?
I don't think any of us are going to agree on it. Like
Hold on. Obviously, winning a team trophy means more than an individual trophy, right?
I think winning it...
Say you were a footballer, would you rather win the World Cup or the Ballon d'Or?
Yeah, but in
World
the...
3, 2, 1!
I said World Cup, but in this
World Cup.
context...
Okay, so question...
In this context, I still strongly believe that individual trophy recognizes players who maybe weren't able to be surrounded by the best possible teammates to win that Ballon d'Or.
Preach, girl.
Most improved of the season.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the most improved player. Like, just because Messi doesn't have the strongest team around him does not mean he's not the best player in the world.
Participating award.
No, you're welcome.
Preach.
All right, whatever.
That's my opinion.
Right.
So yes, I think winning the World Cup's important, and that's why we saw someone like Luka Modric win last year. But
they already lost the World Cup.
I agree. I mean, the Ballon d'Or
but the World Cup is important. Like,
of course.
Being good, but in this context, it's not a World Cup year. Champions League was huge, but you got to look at other players' statistics throughout the entire year, and Messi had a massive impact on Barcelona. So, before you answer back, Ben's gonna speak now.
At the end of the day, it's an individual trophy, man, and I think that if we're looking at an individual trophy, we have to look at individual statistics, and Lewandowski, his statistics are off
Googled some
motherfucking
facts.
Chart, bitch. Let's go.
Alright, whatever.
Alright, so Becky, what's your pick for number 3?
I already told you my pick.
Alright, Alright.
So I'm not going to get into a big argument about it. I'm going to move on, as Hal said, to the women's Ballon d'Or. And I'm going to go with my hot take that Megan Rapinoe is going to win the whole thing, despite the fact that she didn't actually play that much in the World Cup. But I think people are going to take into account her entire presence outside of the sport when they vote for her.
I agree that she is so important and arguably the most important figurehead in women's football in 2019. I wouldn't try and argue against that, but the Ballon d'Or is about football, no? Not about what you're trying to represent or anything like that. So I think it's kind of... I don't know, I think it misses the point. If you're going most important sportswoman of the year or whatever... Is she not still an
incredible player, though?
I'm not saying she's not an incredible player, but I think there are better footballers.
So who would you pick, then, for your top pick?
Okay, and just to be a devil's advocate here, you did say earlier that you think that the trophies are more important than individual statistics. And
they are in the context of football, but not in the context of the Ballon d'Or award.
Let me finish.
Wait, no, I take it back, delete that.
And she did she not, win the most important
did she not win
team trophy
the Golden Boot
this summer?
The Golden Ball and the World Cup trophy? Did she not win? Sorry, wait. 2 individual trophies and a team trophy.
I don't even think she was the best player for America.
But sorry.
So who's your pick?
Then why do you win the Golden Boot if you're not the best player, the top goal scorer?
You scored the most amount of goals, but the most amount of goals does not equate to the best.
Oh, and Hal's pulling out his laptop to look at some stats now because somebody doesn't know his
Hal has now whipped out his laptop.
Megan Rapinoe, I think,
the N button does not work on my laptop, and it's very hard to Google.
I think she is the best player in the world. I think you can look at someone like Ada Herderberg, who won it last year. She's an incredible player, but she didn't play the World Cup this summer.
Because she chose not to play.
Yeah, but I think when you look at voting,
decision,
that happens every 4 years. It's going to have an impact, the fact that she didn't play. Like, I think when you look at her performance, you'll look at someone like Rapinoe and her impact at the World Cup, and she had a way bigger impact than, like, Norway with Herderberg there. What could they have done? She wasn't there, and I understand the reasons, and I back the reasons she wasn't there, but that has to have an effect on her winning the Ballon d'Or this year.
Okay, so let's run through quickly what we all think as our picks for the Ballon d'Or here. We'll start with Becky.
I'm going Megan Rapinoe all the way. I think we'll get Ada Herdeberg in second, and probably Alex Morgan in third.
Okay, well, I thought... Look, I think in the context of the World Cup, I more enjoyed the performances of, like, Rose Lavelle, like, her performances. I thought she was amazing. I thought she was so good. She was somebody...
Shout out.
Yeah, she was somebody I watched, and I just thought, this person is brilliant. And... I don't know. And then I'm very biased, and I'm like... You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about Vivianne Miedema. And I appreciate that, like, maybe on the global stage, you know, she hasn't been there. But as an individual...
But, the Netherlands were in the World Cup final as well.
Yeah, and they were in the World Cup final. Yeah. They won the Euros.
There's an argument there for Miedema.
Yeah,
there is.
so, and also let's think about this as an individual who just today was part of an Arsenal team that won 11-1 over Bristol City, and... How many goals should she contribute to? 6 goals and 4 assists. That's 10 out of 11, you know. I'm not good at maths, but I know that's pretty fucking impressive. So, yeah. So, I would say Vivianne Miedema and Rose Lavelle.
Yeah, but that's why I think going with our argument off the men's Ballon d'Or and the Champions League, how important is the Champions League? That's when I look at someone like Ada Herdeberg, who won the Champions League for Lyon as well. Like, where's the weight of that to the World Cup?
Well, that's the problem, right? Because I think the World Cup does outweigh everything.
In women's football especially, I would say.
Yeah, because it gets the most attention. And
the Women's World Cup tournament this summer definitely was the most watched women's football
Ada Herdeberg
tournament
wasn't there.
Yeah, and one of the best players wasn't there, which shows that it's such an important...
Last year's Ballon d'Or winner was not there.
And I think that does take a knock on Herdeberg, personally.
Yeah, but it's kind of like... I don't know.
I'm with you, man. I'm an Arsenal fan. I think Miedema's incredible. I like the individual statistics side of things. And like you said, I mean, today specifically, she balled out. She got those individual stats.
And not just today. She's 22 goals now, I think, this season.
Almost triple any other female Arsenal player. Almost triple any female Arsenal player right now.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could deny that. Like,
any defensive players that you think have a shot, or
Lucy Bronze?
Lucy Bronze is
the only one I think has
a shot
as a defender. She, for England especially, has created their attack multiple times. I recently Neville has been playing her in the midfield because I think people are recognizing that she can create so much on the pitch. But as a defender, she has been almost unstoppable, and she's been able to also drive up that wing and make those crosses and also attack on the goal as well. And I think she's incredible. So maybe I'm biased with that one as well, but I would back Lucy Bronze as in with an outside chance.
And Becky, perhaps in a season's time or a year's time, do you think, like, Sam Kerr is obviously an incredible player, do you think her chances at winning a Ballon d'Or will be improved, that now she's playing in probably the most widely publicised league in the world?
Yeah, I think moving over to the Women's Super League seriously increases their chances. I think that players in the NWSL have been sought after and regarded highly for a while because that has been where most people over the years have looked towards women's football, but that is seriously shifting and more weight. You look at how well European countries did in the Women's World Cup this year. When we got to the final 8 at the Women's World Cup, it was 7 European countries versus the USA. So the weight of Europe is seriously shifting. I'm going to take a pause and get my drink poured.
So it sounds like I was laughing at your opinion, but
no,
Ben trying to evenly pour out the last of the
backtracking on my opinion, I think that the weight in women's football is seriously shifting towards Europe, especially with the Women's World Cup having had the final 8 be 7 European countries versus the USA. I think that someone like Sam Kerr moving to a European Women's Super League team and being able to leave her mark over here, it's going to get recognized. We're in a space that is really recognizing women's football right now, and it's growing, and I think she'll just get more attention. So yeah, I think we could see her on that list.
So you think
she's on that list, but I can see in that top 3 in a few years' time.
And just want to say, first of all, me and Hal are actually experts. We were at the highest attended WSL game 2 weeks ago between Arsenal and Tottenham. North London is red.
Humble brag here from from Ben.
But I do agree. I think it is actually it's shifting over in Europe, which is good to see. But as far as my top 3 picks, I'm just gonna rattle these off real quick. Miedema, number 1. Number 2, I've got to go with my American, Megan Rapinoe. Number 3, I'm a rock with my girl Lucy Bronze. Give my defenders out there some love because she seriously did ball out in the World Cup this summer.
And she, like Van Dijk in the men's game, is an attacking defender as well, and I think that's what gives her such a good outside chance of being in there.
And Becky, how would you list your top 3?
My top 3 still goes, I said this I think at the start, but I'm going to go Megan Rapinoe, and then I'm going to go Ada Herderberg, and then Alex Morgan, and I think that's because the bias of the voting is still heavily skewed towards the women's national team winning the World Cup. I think someone like Lucy Bronze, even Ellen White from England deserves a shout out to that, but I think that there's still so much emphasis on the U.S. winning another World Cup, and someone like Alex Morgan's going to get into that 3rd spot.
Yeah, that is fair. And I would say my personal experience of women's football is heavily based on what I've witnessed in England, so that is why somebody like Miedema gets the nod from me, because I've witnessed her in person, whereas the other players I've only seen on TV and read about. So yeah,
true.
I would add that caveat.
So how do we want to wrap this up, guys?
I think this has been a very special extra episode of Champagne Football. Little extra special Ballon d'Or piece for the 2 fans at home.
Yeah, it's a shame it would be fucking irrelevant by the time we publish it, but apart from
No. We'll publish it in time, don't you worry.
Don't you worry.
Don't you worry. This has been Becky Thompson, Hal Fish, and our lovely guest, Ben Chapal, with his insightful opinions.
Your boy, hoping to be back. Hopefully, maybe.
I don't know, I didn't really... What did you think, Becky? Do you think he's got worthy of a second appearance, or...?
Second audition.
Definitely
second audition.
Maybe
we'll make an official decision after.
Maybe an Arsenal
Shut up!
emergency pod.
We're talking about you, not to you.
Oh, come on. Come on, guys. This doesn't make me want to come back.
Either way, this has been a very special extra bonus episode of Champagne Football. It's been a pleasure being with you here today, and we will be back probably in just about a week and a half's time. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Hurrah.
Peace.